Hello, and welcome to the Falcon Paladin Hour. Falcon Paladin. Welcome you to the show that is named after you. Always feels a bit weird.
Yes. In fact, it is named after me. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you for the welcome.
This could be someone's first episode. I have to introduce you, otherwise they might not know who you are.
Right. I mean, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just practical. Just being practical.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, let me tell a story to introduce the podcast today.
Okay, great.
So I went to a grocery store to get a pickup of Coke Zero Cherry because the local Walmart was out of it.
Okay.
And so I got there, and they went up to my window and said, "Hey, what's your name?" I told them, like, "Okay, you just want in the trunk?" And they said, "Yes." So they loaded stuff into my trunk. And then I went home, and I said, "I don't want to bring all this in. I'm just going to leave it in the trunk because it's wintertime, and it's cold, and everything is A-okay." And then I went out the next day, and instead of Coke Zero Cherry, it was like ground beef and skim milk and blueberries and some nice tortillas and like some raspberries and
So,
some
hold on.
like arugula.
Arugula, okay.
Yeah.
I'm confused as to why people are loading things into your boot.
Because
Or
that's
your
how
trunk.
grocery pickup works here.
Oh, okay. You didn't get out to inspect what you had bought? You didn't have to
No.
go in and be like, "Hey, I'm here to pick up my Coke Zero."
No, you park, and then on the app you go, "I'm here. I'm parked in this spot."
Mm-hmm.
And then they clarify that this is you in the spot where you said you were.
Mm-hmm.
And then they put it in the trunk.
Mm-hmm.
And like most places, even I think have policies or like don't get out of the car. Like
Okay.
it's a safety concern because there's other cars, coming in and pulling into different spots and stuff.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't
So-
know what their reasoning is for it necessarily.
We definitely have something similar at my work, but the spots are just in the front of the store in the parking lot. So asking people not to get out is because it's dangerous. It's asking people not to get out of the car in a parking lot, and that is patently
Right.
ridiculous.
It truly is. Yes. I don't know. Maybe they just don't want people like complaining about how the groceries are being loaded into the trunk. They're like, "Hey,
Yeah, maybe,
some
but
Karen's out there screaming at some minimum wage employee, like, 'You're putting the bread on top of the eggs.'" It's like, screw you, lady. Pack your own bags. Don't you pick up anymore.
yeah, I mean, all great points, and I'm sure it works something like this. I don't have a car, so I've never experienced it. But I feel like you should still get out and check that you're
Never
getting your
have.
groceries.
Never had this
have.
problem before. Never once have I ever had this happen to me.
Okay.
So I called the grocery store and was like, "So, I picked up an order yesterday, and it was just Coke Zero, and instead of Coke Zero, it's like ground beef and blueberries." And they're like, "Oh, what?" And I was like, "You don't, like, nobody's missing an order? Like, you didn't have someone complain? You showed up and their order was missing?" No, they were totally taken aback by this. And I was like, "I can bring it back. It's just, it's been in a cool environment all night. It's been refrigerated effectively.
They won't
nothing's-"
take it.
And they were like, "No, but the policy is we can't take it back. Just enjoy it." And I was like,
Yep.
"Come back and get your stuff, obviously, because we still have that. But enjoy your
Free ground beef and arugula. Yeah.
enjoy your granola cereal. Yeah, this yogurt specifically for babies. Apparently, I didn't know they had yogurt just for babies, but they do."
Some of my friends, just on their Instagram story yesterday or the day before, were like, "Here's our 4-month-old in a kiddie pool with some other little babies eating yogurt," and obviously because they have very small kids, they were getting it everywhere. That's why they're in the kiddie pool. So I guess that's what they
awesome.
were using.
I mean, I have 3 children, and in feeding them yogurt, regular yogurt is fine for kids. I never had a pediatrician or a doctor tell me you need special kinds of yogurt for children or they'll die.
But if you don't give your children the special yogurt when they're very little, how will you charge twice as much for yogurt?
We have to get them addicted to the good stuff.
Well, how will they charge twice for yogurt if they can't force you to say it's special for little kids?
Right. That's a fair point. Anywho, whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, Made tacos for the family. Been eating blueberries.
Blueberries are good.
Okay.
I was gonna set you a challenge to make one dish that uses everything that you got.
I don't know, man. Celery, cream cheese, granola cereal, ground beef,
Very doable.
uh, yogurt, skim milk, tortillas.
Oh yeah, you can make a creamy sauce out of all of those, plus ground beef. I'm not saying it has to be. You have to make one taco out of all of that stuff. Like one can be dinner, one can be dessert. That's fair,
Okay,
but it's
okay.
still the same meal.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And like, ooh, a green chili sauce too. Yeah, yeah.
Green chili sauce, capsicum.
Like for enchiladas. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
So yeah. So I guess gonna make some more stuff. I guess I should do some enchiladas now because I wasn't using the green chili sauce, but I guess we should.
You should. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
And I
it'll.
was like, I was like, whose is this? Do we think this is like? I mean, the baby yogurt is either indicative that it's someone who has a young child, or maybe they just like the baby yogurt. Like maybe that's what they get as a full-grown adult, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Certainly possible.
And the rest of it wasn't kid stuff. Like the rest of it was all just straight up adult food. So,
Well, I mean, kids can eat the rest of it.
yeah. Well, not babies.
Not
Like,
babies,
you're not giving a
but-
freaking taco to a baby.
No, but if you have one small child, you might have other slightly larger small children who can eat tacos.
Right. But I'm just saying,
Right.
what else is for the babies?
Nothing. They
Like-
just needed baby yogurt because their baby likes yogurt and they ran out.
Okay. Fair enough. Anyway, so yeah, somebody with a young child.
Somebody with a
likes
young child.
Blueberries. I'm trying to figure out what the blueberries were for. Like, do you think
You
you
can
just
eat-
ate them
Yeah,
plain?
you just eat them plain, or you put them on granola cereal. Yeah, it's delicious.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be good. I should do that. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, good. So yeah, so that was my adventures in grocery shopping this week. Pretty crazy stuff.
That's wild. Truly revolutionary. Yeah. Okay.
Additionally, Severance is back. Got
Oh,
3
yeah.
episodes into Severance.
Excellent. I assume you put it in the Discord, this Lumen Industries link.
Yeah.
Is that official, or is that just like a
Yeah.
fan-made thing? Okay. Because I did this,
Yeah.
and I was like,
Oh, yeah.
I have no idea what I was doing. I eventually worked
Right.
it out, but like,
Yeah.
it's very interesting. Oh, now that I'm at 100%, I can't keep doing it. Okay, it's just,
You've won. You've
Yep.
completed it.
I did. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean that's right. So it's just this what the people on the macro data refinement team are doing for their job. We've
Yep.
talked about this,
We have.
and yeah, I feel like they're progressing the story at a pretty good pace. I don't feel like they're just introducing more mystery without solving any of the previous mysteries, which is what I was worried about.
Right.
So I kind of feel like they could wrap up the story this season. So
Maybe.
I mean,
Maybe
I
they'll-
would love it. So people like limited series that end it really well are beloved by people. Like shows that are 1 season or 2 seasons or just 12 episodes or whatever, and they end it and they tell their story and they're done with it. People are like, this is the greatest thing of all time. When you get into trouble in American TV is when you're like, this is getting ratings. Let's keep it going for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seasons. Do you have any more story to tell? No, but we can make some, I guess. And then they do. And then it turns into garbage.
Here's the thing.
And then it dies an ignominious death and people forget it.
There are still 10-season shows that people love, right? Friends,
true.
How I Met Your Mother. I think Seinfeld went for a long... Like, maybe How I Met Your Mother's ending, not super well received. But the show's still beloved. People still go back and rewatch those shows. Like... And...
I don't know. Do you think... Okay, here's the thing. I never talked to anybody who loved How I Met Your Mother when it was airing.
Okay. Hi.
So, I don't know. Okay, so that's you.
Yeah.
Okay, so for you, the fact that the ending is stupid, like
I like the
you still
ending.
like go back and watch old episodes. Oh, you like the ending.
Oh, well...
The minority there.
I mean, I don't hate it. I kind of like it. I like the final season is very different from the rest of the show in that it is 99% just a season with the mother around a single event, and then we find
Yeah.
out all the answers. They pay off all the questions they set up throughout the show. It was great. Well done, Lost, for not doing that. I think it's fine. Like, I don't super care by the end if Ted's with Robin at the end. I think it as a character, Ted Mosby, it feels very in character for him to tell this very long story to his kids to try and gauge their feelings of him asking Robin back out. How that goes on forward if they break up again, I kind of don't care because I was there to find out where the mother was, and I found out, and I was happy.
They set up the precedent, they set up the story, and they did what they said they were going to do, and you're down. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, and they did actually want to do a whole nother season. But the guy who plays Marshall, I can't remember his name, Jason something maybe. He was like, I've been doing this for 9 years, so I'm kind of tired of it. Like, and so he was like, I'm not going to renew my contract. And they were like, well, we kind of can't do this without you, because you're kind of central to everything. So like, all right, we'll just wrap it up early.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Anywho, I guess my point is, personally, I would appreciate if Severance was a tightly written 2-season show that told a story, got the end of it, the ending was fantastic, and we didn't go back. I think that would be great.
But would it be worse if it was a 3-season show that was tightly written and ended everything?
No.
Okay, right.
No, but again, the longer you go on, the harder it is to be tightly written, the harder it is to not introduce extraneous characters and try to freshen things up and miss on stuff. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like there's the example in Lost, Nikki and Paolo. They were like in season 5, and they said, we need to introduce a new character. So here's some dudes that crashed on the plane in episode 1 we've never seen before, but they're just part of, you know, just the extras that are out there. They're not main characters, but, you know, like 60 people survived, and they're just 2 of those. And they sucked so bad. The audience reception was so bad for these characters, they buried them alive on the show 6 weeks later. Like, on the fly. They were like, all right, we get it. We hear you. We're reading the internet forums. Bam, done. Killed him off. Never talked about him again.
I don't, like... I get that you're telling this story as, like, they were just trying to... They had to pad it or whatever to, like, fill time and, like, extend it on and on. But I like that the consequence of that way worse, which is they were like, okay, fuck whatever we had planned with these. We'll listen to the people on the internet and just change the story now. That, to me, says they didn't have a plan at the start of the season.
Probably not. Probably not, because they were in season 5 at that point, and they were like, we're still on the island. This is getting a little bit weird.
How many seasons were there? 6?
6.
Yeah. I remember listening to a podcast that talked about it as it was airing. And they were like, I can't believe they just introduced new characters in, like, the second to last episode. Like, they were really surprised. Yeah. Like, I mean, they killed them off, like, in the same episode, I think, if I recall. But, like, they were still introducing new characters. I think that's the issue. Not that they went very long. It's that they didn't have an idea at the start of where their characters needed to be. I don't think if you told them, hey, you have to end Lost in 3 seasons, it would have been a better show.
Well, no, because J.J. Abrams came up with the premise, had no idea what the answer was, and then fucked off and did whatever else he wanted.
Right.
Yeah. But if you are something that comes in, if you're Breaking Bad, like Breaking Bad was 5 seasons. Breaking Bad came in with a story to tell, beginning, middle, end at the beginning, and they nailed it. So as long as you have the ending and then you end it, then you're good to go.
I was under the impression that people think Breaking Bad went on for a season too long. That, like, season 4 ends with, like, Gus Fring dying, doesn't he? And then season 5, they're like, oh, I guess we have to invent some Nazis or something to be the new bad guys all of a sudden. Because, like, they had to renew they wanted to renew because the seasons were so good. Or the ratings were so good.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that happened. I mean, yeah. So in that case, sure. That's probably, like, network interference there, but Vince Gilligan, the creator of the show, came to them with a story, beginning, middle, and done, and he wanted to tell it, and he pretty much apparently. I thought he got to tell it the way he wanted to tell it, but it sounds to me like they did stretch it out a little bit more than he had planned.
And then they spun it off into a whole new show with a side character.
They did.
Yep. Which I hear is good. I see clips of it and it looks fun, but...
Yeah, I haven't had any interest in it.
No.
Yeah. Anywho. Yeah, Severance is moving. It's good.
Good. Glad to hear it. Should we move on to Warhammer?
Let's do.
Warhammer. Did you finish the book? I assume you finished the book.
I did. Of course.
You did.
I would have told you if I hadn't, and I needed more time.
I have no doubt.
I've done that before.
I'm like maybe once. Maybe.
Yeah. Once.
Alright, so what did we read? We read Hereticus by Dan Abnett, the third book in the Eisenhorn trilogy. Third and final.
We did. Third and final.
Ish. Third and final-ish.
Oh, third and final-ish.
Yep.
Right. So, okay, so book 3 is basically book 2? In the sense that it still has pacing issues, but they're not as bad as book 1. They still introduce the villain in the last 60 pages of the book, and then rush, defeat him. Rush, we're done.
Did they introduce the villain? I think they worked out who the villain was.
We didn't know who it was.
I feel like they worked out who the villain was pretty middle-ish of the book. When they realized it was Pont. That feels like middle of the book.
No. It was definitely final third of the book.
Okay, well, I'm looking.
I'm search for Pontius Glaw, and we'll see what page it's on.
I'm looking at the Lexiconum entry for Hereticus, and the book is divided into 3 parts. Part 3 is Ghoul, and they definitely know about Pontius Glaw before that because I can see his name in Part 2 when they're on the Orient Express in space.
Sure, parts, but that's not necessarily a percentage thing.
Sure.
So it's 63% of the way through the book is where it says Pontius Glaw.
Sure. I feel like that's
first time.
I feel like that's the middle third, yeah.
Okay, fine.
The end of
the
middle
third.
The end of the middle third. Okay.
Right.
Yep,
Fair
okay.
enough.
Sure.
Okay, deal.
Last 25%, sure.
Yeah.
Nearest to the end.
Right. So I don't know. So, I mean, yes, it's not like the final 10 pages. It's like, Pontius Glaw's back. Holy shit. And then we defeat him, and then that's the end. So I did appreciate
Like
there was some setup, which is nice.
Right, and it's also a character you already know, so...
That helps.
It's not like, hey, it's Quick Sauce. And like, who's Quick Sauce? And like, that guy over there is Quick Sauce. I killed him. The end.
Yeah. Everybody knows Quick Sauce. He was a really famous guy in the Imperium. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. Well, everyone knows, but I sure don't. Right. But they did enough to set up Pontius Glaw in book 2, obviously. A lot of time spent with Pontius Glaw, so they didn't have to do any of that setup here, which was nice. I appreciated that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do want to say, in book 2, when he was like, hey, give Pontius Glaw a body, as a treat. But, like, keep him imprisoned here, okay? And the guy's like, on it. And I was like, I don't... Keep this dude in prison. We had to keep him inside a special magical coffin, locked and sealed with magic. And we're just going to let him walk around with some homunculus body? Like, I don't know if that's a great idea. But he didn't give a second thought to it. Freaking Eisenhorn was like, okay, cool, bye, good luck with that. And then he never checked in on it. He never, gave him a call. He was like, how's it going with Pontius Glaw? Nothing. Incredible human being Eisenhorn is.
I mean, I imagine Eisenhorn was, giving him a body that's kind of like... you know the little robot in Rick and Morty? It's like, what's your job? To get butter. And it's that little
Yeah.
guy. I imagine it
Uh-huh.
was like that. It wasn't like a fully articulated person body with like massive arms that he could do things with. It was like he had a claw that he could poke with, or he didn't even have those. And it was just like, Pontius can now walk about his cell. And
Right.
this tech adept's like, well, I've got a mostly metal body. So when he says give him a body, he means give him a mostly metal body and gives him the Cult Mechanicus experience.
Right. Which is a dumbass thing to do because Pontius Glaw is going to kill you once you're done with that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I like how we didn't even like that part of the story isn't even told. It's like,
Nope.
what happened with Pontius Glaw? You
I
can
mean-
make some assumptions.
It's likely that Gregor doesn't know. Like, he just like is
Yeah.
like, oh, I guess he broke out somehow, but Major Gear Bjord or whatever his name is just dead, and I can't ask him how it happened, right? Like,
Right.
although
Like-
they also do specify earlier in, I think it's book 1 or 2, that like being dead is not a prerequisite that you can't ask them things. That's what autostasis is for.
Correct. We do it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. To the point that like he's making inferences, right? He's making connections and like kind of tenuously piecing some stuff together to the point that I almost felt like it wouldn't be Pontius Glaw. Like he convinces himself it is because he's like, it's my old enemy. Obviously, it's this guy. And then I was expecting a twist where it's like, you idiot. Like you bridged this in weird places because you wanted it to be him and it's not. Haha. But the book was not interested in doing that. It was Pontius Glaw the whole time. So.
Yeah. Dan Abnett has written Gregor's slow slide into radicalism and is not particularly interested in flashy twists.
No,
Right.
not at all. Nope.
I mean,
tiny bit. There's
tiny.
a couple.
There's a couple. So, like, the third part of the book is Ravenor getting all of his friends killed, or killing them himself. Did you feel like it was a bit of a twist to have Fishig shoot Gregor? His friend for over 200 years?
No, because friggin' Gregor says it himself. I know who Fishig is. I've always known who Fishig is. When he joined up with me, he was like, if you cross that line, I'ma kill you myself. I'ma take you in. And then Gregor's like,
He won't shoot.
well, you know, he wants to come back, and Medea invited him back, so that'll be fine. I'm like, what the hell, man? You know what this guy is? He brought friends with him, and you're like, this is cool. Totally fine with that. He has no sense of self-preservation at all sometimes, this guy.
Yeah, I read it as Gregor has given this guy a lot of trust in the past and
Yeah.
believes that Fishig, despite being a very Puritan person, is capable of seeing like what's at stake and is like, he won't shoot me because he understands that I'm like, even if he thinks I'm not on the level and like the other Inquisitors need to come in and stop me, he understands that I'm doing this for a reason. Like, I have a purpose. And it's not that he doesn't have any sense of preservation. It's he has such a self-confidence in his own right, like correctness of his purpose, that he's like, everyone will see that, obviously. And then he turns around and gets kneecapped.
Yeah, and so did Quixos. Quixos was also entirely confident that his work was important and going to save the Imperium.
Right, but Gregor
Well,
didn't
again,
call
Gregor has an example of this. It's like, maybe if I feel this way, I'm not correct about it. Like Quixos wasn't.
Right, but Gregor doesn't think anyone trying to stop him is a heretic, right? And he's like, oh, that's really far gone. I'm not that far gone because I think they're trying to stop me. They're trying to stop me because I need to, like, play by the Inquisition's rules, not because they're obviously Chaos worshippers who know I'm about to deal Chaos a hefty blow and have to stop me. Quixos was deluded. A bit more visibly,
No.
and then...
I know. I'm just saying, as an example of someone who believes fully they're doing the right thing while being steeped in chaos and warp, he should have had a little bit of introspection there, being like, I bet other people won't see this the way that I'm seeing it right now. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
You mean all of the forbidden knowledge that he has wasn't self-apparent that like other people wouldn't have the same perspective as him because they don't have that secret knowledge?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that.
along those lines. Uh-huh.
Okay.
That's all. I'm just saying, when Fishig showed back up with dudes, I was like, this is ending poorly. The end. Like, you should not have let him come back.
No.
He was straight up. You unloaded everything on him. He was like, I'm out. Peace. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, he's incredibly puritanical. He is sticking where he is. He is not dabbling in any of this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he's like, I'm going to come back, I was like,
No.
He's bringing you in. That's all he wants to do. He wants to save your soul. He's already tried it once. He's going to try it again. And with the Inquisition, saving your soul is not a fun process. Anyway, that's all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I did like that it was Medea that brought him back. I do appreciate that it wasn't Gregor being like, okay, my old friend, I guess. Medea totally did it. And he was pissed about it. Gregor's pissed about it, but he'd allowed it to happen. So,
yeah.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the slide into radicalism is really kind of capstoned by, like, giving the Malus Codicium to Uber Amos for weeks to study.
Yeah.
And then using Fishig's body to put Cherubile in. Like,
Dude, that was the thing where I said out loud, holy shit, Gregor. Dude, this guy's your friend. Like, I know he shot you in the knee, but dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to send you a picture. It's my favorite piece of fan art I've ever seen for Eisenhorn. It's Eisenhorn walking past the mirror, and then, so he's got how he looks now and how he thinks he looks in the mirror. And the mirror's got all of his friends. There's the Betancourts, there's Beckwin and Uber Amos and Fishig in the back, and it's just him and Cherubile now. Because at the end of the book, Gregor just wraps up and is like, yes, I just disappeared and kept doing Inquisitor stuff.
Well, yeah, and like afterwards, like there's not really any recorded history about what Eisenhorn did after this day. The end. It's like, what?
Yeah.
All of his friends are doing other stuff now. Yeah.
Are dead or doing other stuff. Yeah.
Right.
Maxilla's dead. Fishig is hopefully dead. Uber is dead. Maxilla's dead.
Medea's running some.
Beckwin's comatose. Or she's like
back home. Yeah.
I think they just don't resolve that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess they were like, there's no like. Unless there's a miracle, she's just going to be in a coma forever.
Right.
It is kind of weird that they were like, here she is. She's not coming back. She can probably hear you. You should probably tell her you love her. And Gregor's like, okay. And then he does. And then we never talk about her again.
Yeah. That several days after he banged the doctor on the Orient Express.
The doctor lived. She got to do some cool stuff post-script.
That's true. That is true.
Good on her.
Good on her. Yeah. What else happened in this book? I mean, there was a Titan fight. That was cool. Where he... Okay, Bastian Vervuk.
Yeah.
The world's most... Like, if you could have a Venn diagram that was Inquisitors and puppy dog eyes, it would be Bastian Vervuk, right?
Right.
Where he's just like, oh my god, it's Eisenhorn, I love you so much, please sign my rosette.
But I don't trust him.
No?
Like, even though there isn't a heel turn, even though there isn't something like, he was insidious the whole time, the whole time, I was like, what do you want? Why are you trying to get so close to Eisenhorn? What is going on here?
He's
but
just
then the book never
fan.
does anything with it, and it seems like he's just that way. So yeah, fair enough.
Well, they're just trying to set him up that he's like bright-eyed and squeaky clean as a young Inquisitor. He's actually 27 or whatever, and Gregor's here at over 200 at this point. And here's what's going to happen to him. It's like, he's so nice and shiny and happy, and we're going to shove Terubiel in him when he's not dead. You know?
Right.
And Uber Amos is going to see it, and he's going to have to try and hide it from Fishig. And that's going to kick off the other events.
Right. It's a big day.
It's a big day.
So, okay. So they were like, the plan for this Titan is to haul it off to other worlds and, like, kill stuff.
Yeah.
Does the Imperium not have any Titans?
The Imperium has Titans, yeah.
So I feel like one Chaos Titan isn't exactly enough to like do everything they were planning on doing.
It depends on where you put it, right? Like if you
Hmm.
can secretly transport a Titan to, the heart of a city center, and there are no Titans around, it's probably uncontested for years until the Imperium can respond.
Oh,
It depends.
years?
It depends. There are definitely planets that have a more martial presence, like Cadia. They probably produce enough of their own tanks that they're like, yeah, we can eventually kill this thing. Like, but
Cadians would use hand-to-hand combat to take down the Titan because Cadians are amazing. Uh
yeah,
huh.
probably. Yeah. So, like, for the purposes of a novel, an author could use it whichever way they wanted. Um, some planets I've read books where the planetary defense force is basically for show, and they've never really rolled out their actual tanks other than for parade duty. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, even if they wanted to, killing a Titan would be very difficult for these people because they're just incompetent, right? They're all suckling up to the Hive Lords who are, are kings basically in their own little fiefdoms, who just have no real military experience or desire to maintain a military presence on their own planet because they haven't been invaded in millennia. What are the chances of something bad happening here? Bring me
Yeah.
my
It
fifth
is
serving of
really tough to
duck.
maintain military readiness for like 3,000 years
Yeah, yeah,
if
yeah,
nothing's happened.
yeah. Um,
I get
eh,
that. Okay.
uh, so Titans are scary,
100%.
but I wouldn't
Yeah,
like drop
I
one
mean,
on
I did
Mars and
have the
expect it to
thought.
happen.
Right. Right. I just had the thought that like this Titan trying to kill these randos on the ground is not exactly what it was built for.
No,
Like it's not super great at picking off one human being across the way,
no,
you know?
it is not.
Yeah, made me laugh a little bit. It's like blasting giant holes and stuff and it's like, "Did you get him?"
No,
No. It's like we're trying to use like a rocket launcher to kill a fly right now.
right. It's a bit like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I imagine like if you like the way I also read it is like, oh, this was not how they expected to like awaken its machine spirit or the demon possessing it potentially, and it's like this thing was not ready to fight people right now, and so an emergency start it was a little wonky. Like its targeting systems weren't aligned because like
Right.
it
Right.
on a normal battlefield, if you were like, here's my character, I'm so and so, I'm going to charge a Titan, and then the Titan just steps on you, right? Or, like
Right.
shoots you. It should kill everything, and here we have to write reasons that it's not. And for me, I thought it was fine. I know you complained on our Saturday StarCraft stream that you were like, Gregor should be dead at like the start of this book. He should just be
He
in a
should be
hole in the
dead
ground.
37 times in this trilogy. Yes.
Yes, yes.
That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was okay with that. I mean, they're like basically rebuilding and resurrecting a Chaos Titan that's been sitting here forever. It's like I get, and especially Chaos machines, like expecting perfect symmetry and accuracy from one of those things is like, good luck with that, man.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So anyway, at the end of the day, they try their best to take down the Titan. It doesn't work. Bad things happen. Gregor feels like he's at the end of his rope. Everything he's tried to take this Titan down has failed. He can't do it. He needs to stop it to save the Imperium. And the only way he can think of to stop it is to summon Cherubel and say, "Get him, boy."
Get it.
And so he does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which works.
Which works because Cherubel is a powerful demon.
He's a demon prince, we learn.
Well, is he?
He certainly says that.
I know, and he's a demon. What do we know about demons, Omicron?
They're trustworthy, Falcon.
They lie all the time. All the time. Even when it doesn't make any sense to lie, they lie. Anyway, my point is that Cherubel has a very undefined set of powers and limits, right?
Yeah.
He can take down a Chaos Titan. Sure, okay. It's like, why? Well, he's a powerful demon. It's like, well, yeah, but, okay, fine. Powerful demon can do whatever he wants. Whatever the story needs him to do.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So then he releases Cherubel's like, fine, I'll take down this Titan for you. Bam, blows it up.
Mhm.
And then Cherubel's like, hey, I'm free now. Rad. I'm gonna kill you. And I like the insightful point that Gregor makes. He's like, if Cherubel had just fucked off into the Imperium, I never would have found him. He would
Right.
have been free. But
Well,
instead, he has to come hunt me down.
okay. So when he kills Cherubiel in Malleus, and he's like, "Haha, that was my plan this entire time. I'm free into the warp." How did he summon him back to a body to imprison him? Like, if Cherubiel just fucked off here, couldn't he do that again?
I think it requires a level of proximity. That was my guess.
The first time he bound him in secret, after he killed him, when was he close to him?
Well, yeah, I don't know. Good point. Well, he's weaker then, maybe?
Maybe, yeah.
You can just, like, drag him out of the Imperium because he's super weak and chain
Yeah.
him in, but this
Sure.
Cherubel's, like, top
I'm
of his
free.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair,
Maybe.
fair enough. Yeah, I take that as a perfectly good explanation. Yeah.
Yeah. But again, it's the warp. There are no rules in the warp. There's no
What?
consistency in the warp.
What? There's no rules in the warp?
No. And I guarantee every author who's ever written for 40K or 30K, they sat him down and said, hey, the only rule for the warp is there are no rules. Do not be consistent with how it works. Do not read previous things about how it works in the warp. Do whatever you want to do. Make it weird in your own particular way. And we're good with it. That's what it is every single time. Because they want you to feel out of depth. They want you to feel like it's weird and unfamiliar. Even if you've been in the warp 20 times already. The 21st time needs to feel weird.
Yeah. I think you're right, and I think they should definitely do that starting now. But I feel like not every author. You can't say don't read anything about the warp or don't do anything familiar, because it's like, okay, suddenly there aren't 4 Chaos Gods, there's 9. You know?
Right. Okay, so there are a couple consistent things about the warp.
And
you're correct.
That is the way that they actually take all of StarCraft canon, which is there are a couple of ways in which it has to work, which it has to function to feel like Warhammer, but otherwise do your own weird shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so in this book, he's like, hey, look, it's a whole planet that's been inscribed with heretical warp magic sayings.
Yep.
Like, okay,
Cool.
I'm on board.
All right. Was there anything else in this book? I'm just trying to remember. I mean,
the coordinated attempt to like murder everybody that Gregor has ever known was pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. Where his buddy gets blown up in his office because he decided to sit down at Gregor's desk and read a book while he was doing his autosance, so Medea could know her dad a little bit.
Yeah.
He gets blown up, and then there's... he later finds out that everyone in the distaff was killed. So...
Well, except for some people. But correct.
Except for, like, the specific one person whose job was to stay at his private residence at all times, yes. But, like, okay, well, no leaning on that resource.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, Dan just, like, litters everything with world building, where it's like, okay, we have a private shuttle hidden in a tree. Why is it out there hidden in a tree? Oh, because some of the junior house staff took it for a joyride, so they had to put it somewhere else.
Right. Keep it from the kids.
Yeah. I mean, it's a nice little touch here and there. I think that Dan really excels with here. That's my guess.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, and part of it is just character nerfing, right? Part of it is we'd like Gregor to go into this final confrontation alone, effectively. And it's hard to do that when he has an army of 10,000 people at his beck and call consistently.
Right.
So he had to be like, hey, yeah, chop off this arm and chop off this leg and then take away this gun. And then, okay, now he's ready to go.
Now he's ready to go.
Yeah.
So when they get off the train, though, they realize, I don't know, if Dan was attempting to deliberately nerf Gregor by taking away like all of his stuff, he then gave him super magic warp powers to let him puppet a corpse and commit war crimes in a bar in this city. Like,
Right, right. That
because
was a crazy moment.
he just detonates a person and very explicitly kills everyone in like a 50-meter radius. It's something like that. Uh, making a warp,
What did you call it?
a warp vortex.
Warp vortex.
Yeah. Which sounds awful. Would not want to be in a warp vortex.
No, pretty bad.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, it knocked me out for a couple of days. It really sucked. I probably don't want to do it again, but I couldn't think of anything else that would work in that situation.
I mean, I'm just gonna point this out here. This is Gregor's version of the Thracian atrocity, where he's like, I'm gonna go kill a bunch of civilians to get some information. And it's like, instead of stealing a psyker, he's like, well, I'll just blow up a spire full of people, just to get some information.
Yeah. There's some parallels there, 100%.
Yep.
Oh, Gregor.
Oh, Gregor.
Oh, Gregor.
Oh, Gregor. Yeah. Is that it?
Yeah, so I don't know. So it's just weird that at the end of the story, it's like, and then he went off and did more inquisitorial stuff, probably.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, was the Inquisitorium hunting him down? Did they catch him ever? Like, really?
Okay. So, the story of Gregor Eisenhorn does continue in other books. He's just no longer the central character.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So while I said this was the third book in the trilogy, there is sneakily another book called The Magos, which is it's a collection of short stories and like one slightly bigger than a short story novel called The Magos. So there's a bunch of shorter stories that jump around into time and then set up like this one mini novel. Like, I'm looking at it, it's 720 pages.
Oof. Okay.
But that like each of these books have been around like 400, I think, and so this is 12 short stories and one short novel.
Got it.
But it is best to read that after the next series we do, which is what we're gonna do. So
Okay.
you will learn more about what Gregor and his best friend Cherubiel get up to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely not doing more war crimes.
Definitely not.
No.
I did like the moment when he rebinds Cherubiel in Fishig's body, but he's like, we did a better job binding this time.
Mm-hmm.
It basically took away all his like personality and his like ability to like even
Say no.
observe what he's doing. Yeah, like he can't even like plot or plan or.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a tool at that point.
Well, they had to neuter Gregor again. It's like, oh, he's got a really powerful demon prince under his control. Better make it weak so he doesn't just ruffle stomp the next part of the book.
Right. Yeah,
But,
and he has to win with a combination of guile and skill, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's not going to overpower Pontius Claw because he can't. You can't just use Cherubiel to do it because that's not how protagonists do things.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to be honest, I didn't think... There's a part of the book where like Maxilla's like, you should destroy that. It's like, thanks for letting me see this piece of like arc heresy.
Yeah.
This awful book. And like, Maxilla's like, here you go. You can just have it back. It's awful. You should destroy it. And Uber Amos is like, you should have destroyed this book. And Fishing is like, you should have destroyed this book. And Greg was like, yeah, I guess I should maybe destroy it when everything's over. I really thought that was him setting up to have a moment where it's a choice between like killing Claw or saving the book, and he chooses to save the book. Mm-hmm. I did not think this would end with him killing the book or burning it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised by it.
Mm.
Because like it's very specifically written in a way that the book people that have it don't want to give it up.
It's the One Ring.
Like
Yeah.
a couple times. Yeah, One Ring's really hard for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So just the fact that he was able to kind of casually like tear pages out of it and set it on fire, I was like, all right, didn't see that coming. And then Pontius does a very classic like, I can save it maneuver, and it's like, dude, I think it's literally on fire at this point. You might be out of luck.
You might be a little bit screwed. Yeah.
Yeah. Anywho's. That's the book.
That's the book.
That's our guy. Again, I do want to complain about the pacing. I think it's fast.
Yeah, I mean, again, written as companions to a tabletop game. I feel like the way this is written at the end, where it's like, and Gregor set off on his own to maybe do stuff. Maybe if you wanted in your tabletop game, you could find Gregor out there somewhere. You know, that's how it kind of feels. Like he's just over there. If you guys want to play with him, you can. This is where the story maybe ends. And then Dan was like, no, that's not where the story ends. He keeps going.
Hey.
With everyone's favorite Professor X analog, Ravener.
Indeed.
And
extremely Professor X.
Yes. You're going to love the titling of the book, because you love all of Dan's titles. This book is just called Ravener.
I mean, at least it's not like Inquisition.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
I bet there's a book named Inquisition.
Yeah. There is.
All right. So where are we going?
Would you like me to find... I don't know how it separates it, but you can get all three books in the omnibus. You might want to look to see if that's available. Because that might just save you money. But I don't know where it, how it breaks it up if it tells you, hey, this is the end, stop here for the podcast, you know?
Right. Right.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Which one? What? Do you need me to send you a link, or did you find it?
No, help me out.
Okay. This is an Australian link. I wonder if it'll work. Oh, Jesus. It's a big link. It's the 20th anniversary edition. What's the difference? But you know what you're looking for. Ravener, Dan Abnett, you should be able to find it.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, there's Ravener Omnibus.
Mm-hmm.
There's Ravener Returned.
And Ravener Rogue. Those are the sequels.
Got it.
Yep.
Scroll. Still scrolling.
What do you mean still scrolling?
Well, it starts out with Ravener the Omnibus, and then Ravener 20th Anniversary Edition Book 1. That's the one we want?
Possibly. I don't know what the 20th edition is. If it's just like, here's a fancy new cover art, because that is fancy new cover art.
It includes a silver cover with new artwork, and along with the original cover art in full color in the inside. So yeah, it's just art.
Okay, yeah, that's fine then. Unless you want to buy the omnibus. The omnibus is probably good, because it'll save you some money.
Ooh, yeah, how much is the omnibus? Omnibus is $21, so twice as much.
But you get 3 books.
But you get 3 books.
See? That's a value for money.
It is. Okay. Ooh, I have a $3 reward because I've spent so much money on books on the Amazon. Excellent.
Nice. Is that redeemable on this purchase?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I can use money from my Amazon card. I didn't have to refresh the page.
Huzzah.
Amazing.
Can you buy it in app though? That's the real test.
I'm going to try real quick. When I bought an app, it didn't give me the option to use my points or anything, so I don't want to do that this time.
That's problematic.
Yeah. So hold on. Kindle Store. Can I search the Kindle Store? Search Kindle. Ravener. Okay, Ravener Omnibus. Tap, tap, tap. Yeah, it'll let me buy it, but there aren't any. It says buy with one click. It doesn't let me like check the boxes that uses my reward points or anything. But it's letting me do it. I'm still very confused by this.
Don't know what to tell you, buddy.
They're like, everyone gave up. You don't have to. I don't know. I don't have to hide it anymore. Whatever. Buy with one click. Done. All right. Ka-ching. You earned Kindle points. I sure did, and I used some on this too.
Wow.
Incredible.
Wunderbar. Wunderbar. All right. Well, do try to keep like a lookout for where it's like, hey, Ravener stops here. Please don't read any forward anymore until the podcast.
It's not going to say that. How am I supposed to know?
How do you know it won't?
What?
How do you... Like, I assume there'll be a bit...
If the book ends up saying, hey, stop reading here for the podcast, then I'll stop reading here for the podcast.
Okay, I won't say that literally, but I was using hyperbole. That's allowed. There will be a point where it wraps up and is like, tune in next time. Stop there. Because I will not have 3 books read by next week, and you could.
Entirely possible, yes.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Done.
Cool.
I'll do my best.
All right. If you want, I'll be like, I can tell you, when I get to this bit, that means stop. You know? I'll send that to you in like 4 or 5 days.
Okay. Deal.
I'll just send you spoilers out of nowhere. It'll be great.
I like that. My favorite thing. Amazon.com.au. What does Austria do for their suffix for internet sites?
Don't know. I imagine this is something that would be on their Wikipedia page.
AT.
AT.
Yeah, that sucks.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You guys won. I don't know how you won that. Like Austria predates you by a few thousand years.
A few thousand years, you think?
Well, hundreds of years probably.
Oh, interesting. Formation. It depends. Depends on how you look at it. Like, do you count it as... Well, there's Austria-Hungary. Like, they were at one point a country, so do you count everything before that as well?
Ooh, that's a good point.
Yeah, what about the First Republic of Austria? That's 1919. We predate that.
That's true. Okay, so basically all the wars in Europe kind of screw this up.
Kind of.
They were around, but not necessarily as Austria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, according to the Wikipedia page, if we go back to the earliest, oldest naming, they've got 970. So
yeah,
they definitely beat us there.
And they're like, there were ancient peoples in Austria back in the year 2000.
Oh, well,
25,000 years ago.
I mean, there were ancient people here then too. So it's like,
ooh, that's a good point.
That would balance each other out. Like that would just be a tie.
Probably. Actually, oh, that's a great question. How
long
like ancient peoples like that were Pangea? Like when all the continents were connected, that's how Australia had people? Or is it like, did they take boats?
I don't think humans were alive when Pangea was. I think that was dinosaurs. I think, geologically speaking, the Earth broke up way before we came around.
Okay, so no. Short answer.
Shit answer, no.
First Peoples Australia.
30,000 years, if I recall my education.
It says 60,000 years.
60,000. They were alive when the Emperor was around.
Yes. Estimates of when people first arrived are constantly changing as new evidence is discovered. But they came from somewhere else, probably Asia. Okay, so yeah.
I mean, they definitely came from somewhere. That's...
Well, I guess unless you're talking about Northern Africa, where...
Right, everyone came from. Yeah.
the peoples showed up there and evolved from people that weren't people. Anywho's, yeah, like North America, I think people crossed the land bridge
Mm-hmm.
from Russia into Alaska and then came down from there.
Yeah.
Anywho's. All right, good. We're learning some stuff. We're talking about Warhammer. We're having a good time.
It's always a good time here, except for the heat.
It
Heat
is.
sucks.
I believe it does.
It's so hot.
It is 58 degrees outside. What the heck?
It is 91. Gonna
Dang.
swap you.
I mean, for sure. 100%. Also, no deal.
Damn, I'll get you one of these days.
Uh-huh. It'll happen. You'll trick me into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, good.
All right.
So I think that's it.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. Put a bow on
Okay.
it.
Sounds good. Thanks for hanging out for another edition of the Falcon Paladin Hour with Somicron at twitch.tv/Somicron broadcast live. You can find the VODs at youtube.com/@Somicron. You can support the podcast directly by going to patreon.com/Somicron or buying merch at falconpaladin.store. So do all those things, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.